Hi and welcome. Today I have a art card. My size is 3 by 4. You can make it any size you want. It's not official artist trading card size, but that's the size I like. So I'm starting with a Bristol smooth paper, and I'm going to take a couple stamps, and I'll list what set these come out of. I can't remember. It's a Tim Holtz stamp, and it's the same collection of stamps. I just took two of them and put them on a little block and um, stamping them at the same time. And I'm stamping them with the Versamark clear. And I'm going to be doing some embossing on the card. I'm using an embossing glaze from Tim Holtz, and this is the color Vintage Photo. And I kind of did it at a slope so that, kind of maybe you're on a hillside and sitting down looking up into the, kind of looks like a stormy sky to me, or a winter sky. And I just see a couple blank areas that I want to fill. And if you have that situation, for me, I find it much easier to go ahead and emboss what I've already heat set it, what I've already put on there, and then come back and do it again. It's not going to hurt. It's going to maybe remelt the plastic if you keep it there long enough, but it's not going to hurt it or anything. And because if you restamp over something that has not been embossed, it could pull the embossing powder up. And the good thing about embossing powder, once it's been done, it does act as a resist. So whatever inks or anything you're going to put on top of the embossing powder, it won't absorb into that area. It may sit on top like if you spray, but you can wipe it off. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing some card smooshing into some inks, and it will not go on the embossed area. Will go on it, but it'll not stay on it. The only exception to that, I guess, if you were to have like a circle and you emboss the edge and you really got the card wet, or maybe a light color even, it can kind of seep underneath, if you know what I mean. But you'd have to really have got the card soaking wet for that to happen. So I'm using 3 different colors. I'm using speckled egg, which is very light. It gives a little bit of difference in the blue, so that I like that. But it would not, for me, be enough color to be the whole sky. I'm adding to that some darker white areas using old paper. And so I'm just smooshing it down. And you want to make sure you dry in between colors unless you want them to mix. I don't want to create a muddy color. even though old paper is kind of a dirty looking color, but it's a nice dirty looking color. I don't want to create where it looks like all my colors have just melded together. So for me, it's important to dry in between colors. And even if you're using the same color and you want to create some depth and just variation of that same color, you dry in between to kind of layer it on top of the other color in the different areas. So I think I'm done with the stormy sky, which was the darker blue I used, and then old paper, which I told you. So I'm coming back with the speckled egg and just adding a little more of that blue, light blue. And I think that is all I'm going to do with the coloring of the sky. I am going to add some of that stormy sky around the edges, and then I'm going to just bring a little bit down at the bottom to give a little bit of grounding of those flowers, just to kind of make it look like they're not just floating off into nothing. Could also have done that with a brown if it's the ground. Either way would have been fine. And then I'm using my Taylor chalk square, and I just get it wet and use my fan brush when I want real light itsy bitsy splatters, and that's kind of what I'm doing there. Maybe it's a snowy sky. It's a little messy, but and then I dry that, and I dry that pretty quickly because the longer it will sit there, it'll kind of absorb the colors underneath it. So now this is where it's going to get a little wacko, I think. You could just leave it there and have a nice, pretty, field of whatever it is, weeds, and then the sky, stormy sky. But I'm not that person, so I've taking this little piece of, it's a Tim Holtz collage piece, and I think it's document. Let me look here. I think it's called document. Nope, typeset. It's called typeset. And so I put down some collage medium on the card. I cover the whole card because I want the whole card to look the same. And then I put the collage piece down, and then I put more collage medium on top. Now this piece it was a scrap, and so it already was kind of well, I don't want to say prepped because I didn't do anything to the collage paper except for the fact that when I ripped it out of the whole roll, I used my water pen instead of scissors. So if you wet the edges that you want to include or not include and then pull it apart, you'll have a almost like an invisible edge versus a cut edge will show up. And then I'm going to add this a little butterfly flying around. And I have, this is from the Clippings sticker book. And it says, in an unfamiliar silent place. So I'm adding that. And I actually later forget I've even added that. And I go to add another sentiment at the bottom, and I totally picked one out, glued it on before I realized that other one was up there. I'm like, because it was like the next day or something. And it's amazing how well they went together. I was very pleased that they went together, because it was like, oh no, I already did that. Now I'm going to add a little tiny bit of texture paste coming from the top. I have this stencil from Tim Holtz, but really I only want a little bit of a leaf stem. So I'm only taking a very tiny part, and I only want a small part. And I'm going to just texture paste, just like maybe there's a tree nearby, and you're just maybe you're sitting under the tree, and so you only see a little bit of the branch coming down as you're looking out to the sky. Now, because of where I want it, and because I want 2 stems, I have to wait till the one is dry before I can do the other. So time changes greatly for me, but for you, you'll not even notice. But the sun will probably look a lot different when I come back to do the second one. Oh, it's not too different. So that first one is dry, and so I'm coming in with the second one, and I must be feeling pretty safe because I don't tape anything off, and I'm only doing that leaf stem, so I am pretty safe. Wanted to give you an update on this texture paste. Every time I use it now, I add 2 or 3 spritzes of water, and that seems to be keeping it alive. I don't mix it or anything. I just squirt it in there, cover it back up with a rubber band, and just leave it. And by the next time, it's absorbed it, and it's working out fine. So now it's dry, so the sun's differently again, and I'm using a distressed crayon to darken it. I kind of am wishing I hadn't done that. I didn't want to introduce green, because I think that would have been a totally different throw of color that would look weird. So I'm just doing some brown, and I think it's called espresso, on the branches and leaves, and just watering it down to get it a little bit of color. And because, remember, we have the collage medium down, you can just wipe off where it's not on the texture paste. And so I'm immediately not crazy about it. So I do try to lighten it up a lot with some water, and then I try just using some fingers to get it, but then I try to lighten it up because I just am not real crazy about those dark leaves sitting up there. I wish I either hadn't done it or just left them white. So here I come in with my second sentiment, and it says, adventure awaits you. So if you put them together, it says, in an unfamiliar silent place, adventure awaits you. I thought, wow, that really, they go together so well. And it was very random. I wasn't even aware what that the first one was there when I put the second down. I wasn't paying attention. And so I just thought it was very, very cool that they went together. And that's it. You'll see some final pictures coming up. And if you haven't subscribed, I invite you to do that. If you like this piece, please give me a thumbs up. That would help me out. I'd appreciate it. Other than that, stay tuned for the final pictures, and I'll see you next time.